champion on this stage, asked to do it all. The lockdown in play. No hope in hell. 16 to 14. The uncrowned kings of a forgotten throne are at long last anointed.
Today, we're going to take a look at the greatest game in Valorant's history so far, and one that will be pretty tough to beat. Because in a grand final of Masters Bangkok, T1 beat G2 3-2. And whilst, you know, Lotus was sleepy, Haven was maybe a bit of a surprise that, oh, we're going to get a game here. The last three maps in Abyss, Split, and then Pearl were all super close, super chaotic, super messy, super crazy. And so we are going to take a look at that last map of Pearl. With everything on the line, we got an overtime 16-14 to T1. Now, in this last map of Pearl, there is a lot to get through in this video, and we will be diving through a lot of things that did happen in this map. And we start with round 3, which perfectly encapsulates just some of the chaos that was going on during this game. Because this is, again, one of these rounds that happened in this game that you very rarely see anywhere else in Valorant. It's going to be an absolute mess towards the end. And both teams here, we're looking at G2 on the attack side, T1 on defense. Both teams struggled on their attack side. And we'll get into the reasons of why both teams struggled on their attack side and, you know, the adjustments that they made and all of that. But in this one, to start off with, G2, you know, are doing classic G2 stuff, kind of taking their time. One thing to note is, and this we will bring up later on, is they destroyed the Killjoy turret here early on, you know, out towards B main, and then they come back in towards mid. They start, you know, kind of taking that part of the map as well. And actually, they've got, I almost said yay, they've got Leaf here on the chamber, kind of, you know, just lurking over on his own. And this is something that you're going to see a lot from G2. And Leaf is essentially going to say, hey, I've got A main, so we're going to come and do an A split. And you look at the G2 here, they look in control. They've ended up in a very nice round where, you know, they haven't had to use a ton of util to, you know, essentially walk all the way up into the site. And so, you know, this is going to go pretty well for them. They have a gun advantage here. They've got pretty deep without having to do too much util-wise, and so obviously this is going to go in their favor.
Around the site, looking for something. Relay bolt going to be sent over towards main. Try to stop the push from coming through. Slide out was going to be taken down. Stacks able to answer one back. Leaf able to take his head off.
Spike planted.
Dig is up. Sylvan noted here at dugout. It's Meteor. Pounded.
So this is classic G2, right? We're in complete control here. We're swinging together. We're trading each other very effectively, right? This is just like absolute peak G2. You know, what we've come to expect from this team, where, you know, we get multiple people there shooting a buzz. We get a great trade onto stacks as well. Now, we're disciplined. We aren't swinging out when we don't need to. We're in an advantage. We're in a 4v3. We get that kill as well from Valen, right? Okay, we end up in a 3v2 here from Sylvan, but that's absolutely no problem. What could go wrong from this moment?
Open finds another Izu. Trying to get in position here at Secret. Retaking from here. Looking nigh impossible for T1.
Scooped up the Phantom.
Recon cleared. Tap not coming through. Fuse now going to be started. Timing on that flash. Damn good. Shot's not quite coming through. Surely not! He's not it! Sylvan! He just sticks to the fuse. He doesn't fake. He gets the Red Bull clutch.
Yeah, so that was one of the many chaotic moments that we saw during this game. And I do just want to talk about T1 for a second, because T1, they are an incredibly chaotic team, okay? As we will now see in round number 5 and round number 6. Now, in round number 5 that you're about to see, so they won the round after the one after the stick as well. They now are on an eco advantage. G2 don't have great weapons. But just take a look at how they gift G2 their first round of the game by making some pretty terrible decisions.
Could just send the clone.
Has full armor. Let's play it up patiently here.
Was able to get that.
Doesn't want to take any early damage.
Yeah, was able to get that Phantom in hand.
That's why he needs to be the one sticking around here for the long haul. But Buzz caught out on this lurk. A nice swing.
It's an attempt to sneak underneath G2's nose, and they read it so well. Although you kind of maybe expect Meteor to be the one trying those kind of things.
Clear on the dart. Jaw up over the top. Stacks What's the re-challenge? Goes for the swing, and it's ill-advised.
So what I really find funny about this one is that when Buzz dies here, pushed up in this angle, just take a look at G2. They are absolutely convinced, well, there must be someone else here, right? There must be, like, someone out here, you know, also guarding this, because otherwise this makes no sense, right? There's no way any team would do that, right? That because it just wouldn't make sense, right? So they use a clone. You're going to see Jogamo jump peek with a TP out here, right? He's looking for that guy. He's like, where is he? Right? And then they're very cautious. I mean, like, you look, they're very cautious here. They're like, where is this guy? Trent's like, gonna shoot bullets because he's like, where is that guy? You know, he must be there somewhere. Like, where is he? And no, there was no one there the entire time. T1 were just kind of trolling, basically. And then Stags does that. And this is how G2 managed to win their first round. But then the next round, T1 and their chaotic nature do this.
Again, man, what a shot. Leaf down to 14.
It's huge that he
Marshall
can even,
rules the day.
Yeah. Huge that he can even close to winning that fight. Do have a Hunter's Fury potentially for Trent in the post plant. Buzz has
judge.
his ult.
Relay bolt. Trying to just pinch in. Has a shot. Overdrive pop Buzz is absolutely massacring them. A 3K. The fourth. Maybe looking for the ace, but Valen a bit of a world away, but Buzz is hot on his heels. He is looking to run him down. Tucked into the corner. Can't quite make it happen. A last stand for Valen.
Yeah, those two rounds, I think, sum T1 up pretty well. A very chaotic, messy team, prone to making terrible mistakes, but also prone to absolute moments of genius. That is T1, and they are now your world, well, not world champions, but Masters Bangkok champions. And let's now come to round number 7. And this one, I think, is a good explainer for some of the things that G2 was struggling with, right? Which is that T1 really abused them with Killjoy. And going for, like, these deep Killjoy setups. You know, in the third round, we saw a Killjoy turret get destroyed early down B long. They did this Killjoy turret a lot, and it didn't get destroyed a lot, right? And that gives you a lot of information. And just take a look here at what we've seen at the start of this round, where, you know, I mean, we've gone pushing up here as Meteor and put a very deep alarm bot down, right? With a turret here as well. So look at the map. Look at what this allows T1 to do. And this is something that they, as I say, really abuse G2, that, you know, a lot of the time G2 wouldn't kind of fully default both mains, essentially. And so on one of the mains, you know, the Killjoy turret or alarm bot would be there, allowing them to kind of just fully stack the other side of the map and get a, you know, a very good read on what G2 were doing. And you see in this round, obviously having 4 people around definitely helps you, right? Even when Itsu kind of has to give up his spot, even when, you know, ults are coming in from G2, you know, they don't feel confident in going there. You know, we get a good ult coming out from Stacks, and they're just in a very good position, right? And they can just chill in this kind of stance the whole time, because that Killjoy setup is still just there, giving them perfect info on the other side of the map, right? So G2 kind of got stuck a lot, I think, because T1 essentially got mega value from some of these setups. And it took G2 a bit too long, I would say, to kind of figure it out of, you know, they needed to, you know, kind of properly destroy them. Because you see here, T1, they start destroying the kind of initial foray in from G2. Buzz then is going to get this kill as well. Great stun. And it looks so comfortable, right? We do end up in a 5v2. And then the T1 from round 5 decided to come back out with this decision from Meteor, because what you're about to see is honestly criminal. Again, we know that this Killjoy setup is giving them kind of perfect info here the whole time, right? The whole time. Now, he knows that a guy is in here, right? So it's very possible that this guy could come here, could even go into Wood Sewer and kind of make this a thing. If you're asking me personally what you're about to see, I think Meteor thinks that they're saving. Right? There's only 20 seconds left. It's a 4v2. You know, their money isn't great, right? I think that Meteor thinks they're saving, so I'm going to go on a bit of a hunt here. I'm going to get ahead of it and start hunting a bit. But obviously, as we can see, Valorant, they're not saving. Or if they are, you know, Valorant's about to run into him and he's about to kill Meteor and give them a chance to win the round, and then they're definitely not going to save. And I think this is a thing you kind of sometimes have to learn, and is in a grand final map 5-1 down, people probably aren't going to save. Even teams like G2, who normally, you know, play like to the statistical best outcome and all of that, it's a grand final map 5. very few people are going to save. And so now we end up in a 2v3 where the spike has a chance to come onto the site. If you're wondering what Meteor should have done, you just chill back here. You let them plant on this site. You have your Killjoy set up to tell them if you're coming there. You just have to watch this. That's all your job is, right? And you go from there. Instead, he obviously kind of trolls dice here, and now we're in a pretty rough spot for the rest of T1.
Granted. Cosmic Divide available. Izu, however, Dimensional Drift at the ready. When does he send it? Footsteps are going to be heard. Valen, absolutely going to be checked on, but he still hits two! Looks for an ace of his own, but Izu able to shut it down. But look at the health. Only 36 remaining. And Jonah about to swing out. Absolutely nails the shot. And Valen continues.
So that was T1's first half, where really they kind of dominated. But G2 would go on to win, you know, the next 2 rounds after the one that you just saw. So considering that, you know, in round 5, they kind of trolled. They then in round 7 lost a 5v2. You know, they then were on an eco and lost that round. They then lost the round after. Considering that they then won the next 3 as well, this could have been an even more dominant half for T1, basically, is what I'm saying. But because it's T1 and they're the ultimate entertainers, they decided to make it close for us. And then they too, even though they had an 8-4 lead, would also struggle on their attack side. And when you take a look at the timeline, this is something that you will almost never see, this timeline right here. Because every round, apart from the pistol round for G2, is a defuse. Every single one. You will almost never ever see this, right? And it really does go to show how this second half was playing out. And so let's start with round number 16, which is the first full gun round for both sides on this half to get a good sense of those G2 retakes, right? And what T1 were doing. T1 are obviously playing a double duelist comp. It's quite an interesting matchup where it's double duelist versus double sentinel. So, you know, you might expect it to kind of be defense-sided, I guess, but you might expect T1 to kind of struggle with the double sentinel. It does make some sense, right? And what you get here is T1, they come out towards A, but just take a look here as, you know, the noise starts to be made. And G2, I think, we're doing a pretty good job of saying, well, they are playing double duelists, so we don't want to play in, like, super aggro spots, right? Where, you know, we can get stunned and flashed and have no chance against a double duelist comp. So we're just going to play kind of on the back side and kind of, you know, hedge our bets rotating to where the noise is, right? Wherever the noise is, we're going to kind of hedge our bets. We've got a deep vice wall over here that, you know, hasn't been taken out. Obviously, we've got the chamber trip in here as well that hasn't been taken out. And now we see that T1 enter in onto the site with the Yoru ult and are going to take the site. But again, just take a look here at what G2 do. This is like a classic G2, very disciplined retake.
Seeing Tramp lead, punishing the lurk. Pop flash sent, plus sliding forward, able to find one. They force that gate crash away. Draw back across the opposite side of the map. Leaf now getting ready to go on this lurk. His way all the way. Up through mid. Stacks, however, cognizant of it. Watching from behind. Just swing fully into this though. Opts to back away. And now Leaf starts scaling forward. Sylvan still watching for it. Valen, in the meantime, pushing up. Sylvan dead. The back line now exposed. Stacks. Last one standing. Tries to swing out. And cannot.
So yeah, when we get into the 4v4, this is like, you know, picture perfect from G2, right? Leaf is very, very patient, you know, doesn't give up his life. But the 3 here on the site as well, they move as one. They understand where each other are. They're very, you know, cautious and kind of going through like each part of the checklist. You know, we get Valen here. He's going to get the first kill. Others are backing him up. Leaf is then getting a kill on the flank. But then on the site, these two again, you know, are ready to kind of swing together. Everything is just well orchestrated. It's like, you know, they have the checklist that they're going through and they go through it perfectly there for G2. And this is what a lot of these retakes did look like, where, you know, it's just like classic G2. And of course, G2's comp is extremely difficult to play on the attack side, right? Like, if you just think about it, you have to worry about Jorgmo potentially being aggressive in multiple spots. You have to worry about Leaf potentially being aggressive in multiple spots. You also need to destroy Leaf's chamber trip somewhere, wherever that might be, right? The Vice util, obviously, is very strong, especially against an agent like Neon, right? You can't just go sliding through the Razor Vines. You'll just die, basically. You have to bait out the wall somewhere as well. You have to worry about, you know, some Vice setup. And the Vice utility could be, you know, spread across the the entire map. And G2, you know, this time it's kind of over towards A, but they will multiple times kind of, you know, put a wall here, put a razor vine here, put a razor vine here with a flash. Like, it can be spread out all across the map, so you're always running into it with a chamber trap somewhere else. There's a lot to have to deal with, and T1 really struggled with the Vice, right? Multiple times they tried to go for Yoru clones, trying to find the Vice wall, that they couldn't because G2 kept mixing up the setup. And you see that in this one, they're going to, you know, try on an eco here to go for this fast A split. But this time they are just going to run straight into that Vice setup and get kind of destroyed.
2 smokes in there as well. So Buzz might get past it, but now he's isolated.
He slides through and trying to peek and go up and over the top. They line up for him. Buzz at the turn back, able to find one. Does manage to take him down, a weapon that can be recovered here once that wall is gone.
Got the overdrive.
Sylvan does grab it. But a 3v4. Plant getting ready to come through.
Here we go.
Overdrive now pops slide into secret, and it's just double stacked. Jogamo taking a tiny bit of damage. Is able overall to find the kill. Zach's in a far back position. Sylvan whittled away at the shorty. The pumps not finding anything. The Chiggle peek. Absolutely disgusting from Jogamo, and Stacks tries desperately.
And again, you just get such a good sense of these G2 retakes. I mean, look at this. It's like, it is perfect Valorant, right? Like, Buzz is trying to make a play in a 3v4. You're looking at multiple people. You can't kill them all. We're comboing util perfectly there with the flash and the dart. Sylvan destroys it. Okay, he's got a smoke up here. We're shotgunning him. We're running into smokes with a shorty first. Jogamo's TPing out to get that information of where that guy actually is. We're waiting for the smoke before we try and scale. Now we're trading the kill there on Valorant as well, right? Like, literal perfect retakes, right? And this is how G2 were playing, and it's why T1 was struggling so much, because it was kind of becoming obvious where they might be going, because they were having to run into Vice util and getting slowed down, right? And then once they had been slowed down a bit, the retakes were perfect from G2. Until we eventually got to this point, and G2 were now 11-9 up. And remember, they were down 8-4 at the half. So this was becoming a dominant half, and it looked like T1 had absolutely no chance. And in this one, again, they are going to end up just about squeaking this round out. This is a very chaotic, messy round again. But you see that they're looking for this Vice setup, right? They're trying to find, you know, and destroy some of the Vice setup. This time they do actually get one with the Thorns. You see that they send the clone out again, looking for that wall. And actually here, G2 shot the clone before it could potentially get to the wall. So they don't even know if the wall is there again. And this is the thing, G2, you know, did such a good job on those kind of little minute details and making it difficult for T1 to know what to do. So T1 are then going to decide, okay, they think at this point probably the wall is there. So they decide, okay, let's just go to B instead, right? We think that the Vice is here. You know, we think that's where the setup is. So we're just going to run to B and run away from the Vice that had been causing them so many problems. And you'll see that the difference in this one is essentially that they have a Killjoy lockdown. That's essentially what's going to be the difference in this round, you know, versus some of these other retake rounds that we've seen, because whilst Buzz does a really good job there on Leaf and jumping around with the Neon, they now just come for their full B exec. And actually, you know, maybe they did catch G2 a little off guard, you know, in terms of coming in here. And they do manage to take the site and get the spike down. But as I said, the difference is going to come in just a second, where G2 are now ready to kind of, you know, go for their retake. You know, we're getting into position here for G2, but they're going to get delayed because the lockdown comes in, right? And they don't have a way of destroying that. And so now G2, there is like more time pressure than there otherwise would be. And T1, you know, can use that to their advantage. And they needed this time pressure, because otherwise they were not winning.
Desperately hoping that someone peeks this corner. Stacks is playing around with it, but in the end has to fade away.
Here.
One detained. Gonna be found. No, it's a fake out.
Obscuring vision.
Buzz trying to push the corner, but leap from above. Finds that kill. Meteor run down. Sylvan in the smoke. Finds himself a second. But Trent will flush him out. A swap of the weapons. The defuse being held. Trent, he's out at safety. He's desperately trying to get it done. And he's just managed to do it. The spike goes off. And somehow it is a red.
Yeah, Stacks tippy tapping away at the toes of Trent is how they finally managed to win a round on their attack side, right? I mean, what a bizarre way to do it. But as I said, they needed the time pressure from the lockdown, right? Without the lockdown, you know, there isn't that time pressure. And G2, again, with the retake that you saw, they just win the round. And the next round after that was another G2 retake, giving G2 2 series points to win it all. And it is at this point that I think maybe Stacks took a breath, and you know, or T1 collectively kind of figured out, hold on a second. They are only beating us from retakes. There is probably more space here for us to explore in than we have been really using. And so that is what they did here in these kind of last couple of rounds. Because look, take a look at this one, because it is a bit different to what we had seen, you know, from some of the things that they'd been doing before, where you're going to see that we are going to walk up Sylvan. Right, so George just does miss that shot, but then we are going to walk up Sylvan, and he's going to go and actually take some space. Again, we're looking for this Vice Wall. Again, the clone is getting shot. Again, we don't feel great about this, but here we're going to end up with something a bit different. And also, take a look at Meteor, because, again, as I said, they kind of are going to realize in this round, wait a minute, there is more space to be taken here, right? So G2 are in a pretty passive stance. Like, if you look at where they are on the map now, you know, they don't have a ton of info other than this chamber trip and the Vice Wall, right? They are sitting back here. They are sitting back on B as well. So there is space to be taken. And take a look at Meteor, because they are going to call back to B, right? Again, trying to avoid the Vice, basically, and wherever that setup is, just deciding we're not going to go there. Sylvan's pushed up on B just here. Meteor's taking space in towards R. G2 are essentially, you know, all in their spawn, you know, pretty much, or they're very, very deep, right? So there is space here. The wall actually gets tripped here from Meteor, right? Which, again, is going to keep these guys here, right? So that's the thing. They can't, like, fast flood across here because this wall has just been tripped. So even as some noise is being made over towards B, these guys are still probably thinking, like, okay, well, this wall's been tripped, so, you know, there's probably something in there as well. And they've already shot the clone, so they know this is real. Then the B exec is going to come in. But, I mean, and this round, again, is not going to go that great for T1. But Meteor's flank is going to find them a kill, and it's not going to allow G2 to retake like we'd seen before, where they're all grouped up, right? In all of the other retakes, a lot of the part has been 3-4 players all grouped up in these kind of areas, and then, you know, kind of coming through, going through their protocol list and all that. Well, this time, we're going to stick Meteor as a wedge in there. So now we're going to get more kind of individual battles going on across in this retake, and that's where T1 can thrive.
Fast lane in play, Leaf. TP's back out the safety, avoiding getting stunned. The fake, the teleport, rather, is Izu. It's just absolutely destroyed. Ping on the Sylvan, push up to the corner. Jogamo puts him down.
Whoa!
The flank, noted. Stacks firing back. He and Buzz, the dynamic duo, who have been together for so very long. Trying to keep the team in this map. For Jonah P. The 1-2. The clutch. The trying to bring it back, but he cannot find it.
So you see, it wasn't great there from G2. Maybe the pressure was getting to them a bit, but I do think that T1 in that round did find somewhat of an answer by just taking a bit more space across the map. And then we came to round 24, right? All the marbles on the line. You know, G2 a chance to win the game. T1 to take us to overtime. And this is a round that is just... I mean, we're just going to watch stacks in this one, because, again, they do the same sort of thing, right? They realize, like, okay, that worked for us, you know, like getting Sylvan pushed up here, that worked for us, so they're going to try and do the same thing again, right? They take both mains, kind of looks exactly the same as it did the round prior, right? And Sylvan's going to get pushed up, and again, in comes the clone. This time the clone doesn't get shot, and okay, the wall isn't here. Maybe makes them think about coming to A. But just take a look here at stacks, and we're going to take a look, right? Because he thinks, oh, we're going A, right? Oh, we're going to go A, right, guys? Like, we're going A. Oh, what are we doing? I don't quite know what to do. Then Sylvan, you know, walking all the way up here on B, and he's like, hey, guys, I'm walked all the way up here on B. Okay, let's come to B. Let's go to B. I like that. Yeah, let's come to B. Then they're like, actually, wait a minute. Oh, I've heard a clone. I've heard some noise. We're going to now fake A with a Yoru ult and a neon wall you see coming in here towards A. We're going to fake A, and we're going to go B afterwards. Right, guys? That's our plan, right? We've got this Yoru TP back here. You're going to TP back. We're going to go B. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's a good round, okay? But then just take a look at what happens, because, again, if we take a look at stacks here, then the Yoru comes in, and he's like, I don't see anyone on the site, guys. Okay, there's a guy backside here, but there's no one on the site. You want to come back to A? So Stack starts running to A. No, there is a guy backside, actually. So no, go to B, go to B. Yeah, definitely go to B, right? And this is the thing. G2 have no idea what's going on. They have no idea what's going on at this point. What's important about this is there's so much going on kind of at one point, and G2 now think that it's a fake. The Yoru ult comes out here. You see they're looking in spawn. They don't know what's going on. During all of this chaos, this chamber trip got destroyed, right? And you see that, again, they've had this lurk come in the last round. So, again, they think that this is happening, right? But in all of this shuffle, as eventually they're going to come into B here, Meteor gets lost in this, right? Because, I mean, T1 basically go with the strategy of, if we don't know what we're doing, G2 can't know what we're doing. And that is basically what happened in this round. But just take a look as Meteor is now going to basically win the round, because in all of this chaos of faking A, are we going B, don't know, maybe, yes, he's now just going to walk down here. And even though G2 are pinging it, they get kind of lost just focusing too much on this. And Meteor is basically able to win them the round.
Watching the angle, shifts back around, 23 seconds. They are running out of time. They need to get going right here, right now. G2. Rotation's about to begin. The stun under one. Leaf gonna be taken down. Trent backpedaling, tagged up just a bit. Tries to counter straight through, but cannot find the spike. Now gonna be planted. Player advantage here for the side of T1.
Jonah P's gonna be late to this party.
Just watching for a lurk. They haven't spotted him out. Nizu gets rid of Valen. Takes him out of the equation. Time once again dwindling. Trent gonna be taken down. Strap in. It is far from over.
But then, as soon as we did go to overtime, again, both teams on the defense side just kept winning. They just kept dominating on the defensive side, and no one could find an answer. Now, T1 did have the advantage in terms of they were on the defensive side first, so they kept being the team that had the chance to actually win the game, right? And that is exactly what happened here as we got to round number 30. And in this one, just take a look again. They kind of went back to, you know, those last couple rounds and basically playing off a surprise here, right? So again, just we'll take a look at Sylvan, because he's going to end up walking down here on his own, and they're going to surprise G2 with the timing of this. G2 aren't going to quite be ready for this one. Sylvan's going to walk down. Again, they take A main, right? It looks exactly the same to some of the other rounds that we've just been showing, kind of towards the end of regulation here, where we've got Sylvan looking up. They're playing, you know, heavy in towards main just here. We had this big standoff here of Leaf versus T1. But take a look at Sylvan, right? He walks all the way up, and he's actually going to trip this wall. You know, he gets up to the wall, trips it off, and you know, then kind of backs out. Now, I'm not sure if actually the wall did fully go up, but he definitely made the sound of, you know, it potentially going up, and I think G2 were cognizant of that. So these two stay in here, right? And they leave Leaf here, okay? And Leaf in just a second is going to miss that shot and TP away. And they now just decide to go, right? So Leaf missing that shot was very, very big, because look at the speed that Buzz is now going in. G2 aren't ready for it, right? G2 have actually think that this is over towards B, right? They actually rotated away from Leaf because they were so quiet for so long, right? And before, they had always come back to Sylvan in those two regulation rounds, but now they just send it. They send it actually before these two smokes even go up, right? You watch Buzz here, he's just in, and he's going to stun now over towards Leaf, and then they're going to manage to take the site, and because G2 are so far away, they can't go for one of those classic kind of we're already in position retakes, and it ends up going to T1.
Slow with that one. TP's back in towards Duckout. He's stunned up. He's dead. Step one taken. T1 in with the advantage. Buzz in Demon Secret doesn't want to overextend. Opts to pull back. It's Valen on the opposite side. Izu down to 6 HP, but still swinging, still finding value. As Meteor finds Trent. A 4v2, a 4v1, Jogamo, the one champion on this stage, asked to do it all. The lockdown in play,